Welcome back to my channel. So I might be looking a bit strange right now with my makeup half done, but if you've watched my previous video you'll know the look that I'm doing and everything. But I did get requests asked how to cover dark under eye circles, so I thought I'd just interject it with this and do like a 2-in-1 video. So I've purposely avoided the foundation going near my under eyes just so I can still show that section. So what I'll do is I'll zoom right in. Now for me, I feel I am quite a lucky person where I don't get heavily dark circles under my eye. I'm really tired, I don't get much sleep, then yeah, they will be a bit more visible, but like I said, I do feel I'm quite lucky with what my under eyes are like. And which is why I never really colour correct with me. I just go in with concealer. I don't necessarily like a full coverage concealer because I find it too heavy in my under eyes, but as you know, I love my Hynt Beauty concealer and it's quite a layerable one, so I can kind of customise the coverage with that. But if you're someone who does suffer from really dark under eye circles, I am going to do some colour correcting to show you. And if I'm going to a special event like a wedding or something like that, or if I'm doing someone else's makeup for something special, then I would colour correct, just because you want to kind of make the base as flawless as possible, especially when there's photographs being taken. So before we start, I think it's always key to wear eye cream, under eye cream. I think it helps a lot, and especially with the application of concealer as well, to prevent it from creasing. Now I do have some fine lines, and all concealers will kind of slightly sit in there. If you've got fine lines, that's kind of unavoidable. It's the kind of creasing and the caking you don't want, which is kind of easily fixable, I think, depending on the concealer. So I think, yeah, like I said, under eye cream I think it's very important. I've just finished up my 100% pure caffeine under eye cream. If you've been watching for a while, you know that's the one I like to use. But I have got a sample of a different one, so I'm going to kind of do a first impressions a little bit as well in this video. I got this, it must have been, I obviously did a Beauty Bay order and I got this free sample. So this is the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Sleep and Stick. It's a depuff and hydrate under eyes. I'm just going to pop this on, but with eye creams, especially if you go for hydrating, depuffing, it does add moisture there, so the fine lines kind of become a little bit more reduced. But like I said, if you've got fine lines, concealer can sometimes sit in there, and that's not the end of the world. It's, yeah, it's the creasing you don't want, and it's the cakiness you don't want as well. So I'm going to try this out. Ooh. Quite a balmy texture. So yeah, so I'm going to take some of my ring finger. I don't know how much I need of this. Well, actually this sample could last a while. And obviously make sure you use your ring finger because it's the one that drags the least, so it's like more delicate. Oh, this feels very lightweight. I quite like the balmy texture of this actually. So I'm going to do one eye with colour corrector, one eye without. So like I said, I don't feel I have particularly dark under eye circles. Maybe if I was going to an event, I just wanted to make sure that it looked flawless under there, then yes, I would colour correct. But I'm just going to show you kind of how customizable this is. This is the Hynt Beauty Concealer, like I always use. This is the shade Light. So I'm going to do it, which one? I'm going to do it on this side, I think. You can see the difference. So I'm going to pack this in. A little bit goes a long way as well with this. So like I said, that's why it can be customizable, and I prefer ones like this because you can build up as much as you want. I feel like doing more layers, like layering it in thin layers, is so much more comfortable under the eyes as well. So you can see, for me, that is kind of, I'm just going to add a little bit more. But I do feel that has done what I need it to do in terms of concealer. You can see the difference. Like I said, if I haven't slept much, then yeah, they will be more prominent, obviously. I'm sure there are some kind of really high coverage concealers that aren't heavy on the eyes. I just prefer something that's more customizable and layerable. So if you've got one like that that covers perfectly, then just go for it. I know there are lots. I think the Duet concealer is really good at like high coverage. But if you like lightness under the eyes, or if you've got a concealer that you really like the formula that works really nicely in terms of how it sits under the eyes, but doesn't give the coverage, then I've got, this is kind of, what I'll do in the other eye is kind of more the option for you. Okay, so that's just what it looks like if I just go and conceal my Hynt Beauty. So for the other eye, with under eye circles, if you're going to colour correct, you want a orangey peachy tone. The kind of deeper skin you've got, you want to go more towards the orange. the fairer you are, the lighter skin you are, you want to go for the more peachy tone. So I've got the Benecos colour corrector here, and this is the kind of peachy shade I'm going to use. Again, with this, I'm going to use a finger. By all means, use a brush or a beauty blender. I find a finger, it melts into the skin a bit better if you want the slightly lighter layers, because it's using obviously the oils from your finger as well to help melt the product in. So I'm just going to take a bit off because I don't want to go too heavy with this, because you really want to focus it where the actual darkness is. You don't really want to go beyond that, because then it'll change the kind of the colour of the surrounding skin. That's the word I was looking for. So as you can see, off the mat, that gives a much more of a coverage as well, because it is just helping to correct. It's still very lightweight on the skin, and you can definitely see actually that it's covered a lot more. So if I stay like this actually, and then actually you can see, especially because I've got like a ring light in front of me, so it kind of emphasises more things, it emphasises more texture, stuff like dark circles. So obviously in natural light that wouldn't happen. So you can see it's given a nice coverage. It's not heavy under the eyes at all. I will need to set this because it will start to go into fine lines and stuff, which it will anyway eventually throughout the day, but obviously you don't want that to begin with. Okay, so that's done. Now I can go in my concealer, and because I've got that, I only need a very light amount of this. Alternatively, which is what I sometimes do, is when I'm putting my foundation on, I do sometimes whatever's left on the brush, kind of just slowly bring it up and pop it over the eyes and stuff like that. So if you've got quite a nice, again, if you've got a foundation you love, and it's got quite good coverage, you can always bring it up there. Then you wouldn't necessarily need to do the colour correction, you just go in with a bit of concealer. But this is kind of like a great way of doing it, especially if you've got really kind of dark under eye circles. It has actually given a slight brightness under the eye as well by using that colour corrector, which is always quite nice. See, and just by adding the few extra layers, it does make a difference. Like I said, it's added a slight bit of brightness under this eye by using a colour corrector. I mean, like front on, this one still looks great, and for an everyday purpose or even just for like dinner, this is fine. But if you want like the full coverage, if you've got really dark under eye circles, then the colour corrector is the way to go. And like I said, making sure you use I actually prefer creamy colour correctors over liquid ones. I find it's just easier to work with, slightly less messy. Well, in a way, I know you're using your fingers, but you can use a sponge. But again, I feel it's slightly more easier to kind of customise the coverage you want and stuff. I just think cream products are definitely the way to go. Like I said, the deeper skin you've got, the more orange of a tone you want to go, the richer orange. For medium or light medium below, so light and fair, go for more of the peachy tones. But yeah, so, and like I said, cream products give a much more natural finish in my opinion. So now I'm just going to take some concealer, just because I obviously want to set that in place. And I'm just going to go and lightly pat over this, because then if you pat, it won't alter or move the product. And like I said, by using it, if you also got a favourite concealer that you use for like a daytime that you really love the formula of, you don't need to change it, just add a colour corrector instead underneath, and that will kind of do the work that you want it to do, and you can go with your nice concealer of choice. And like I said, this concealer, because I do have fine lines, the eye cream will help reduce the fine lines, but over time they will just start to, the product will start to settle in the fine lines. But using under eye cream, using powder to set, it will just prolong or prevent that from happening sooner. Creasing and caking is a whole different matter, which is why I prefer cream products. I can customise it. It tends to be less cakey for me, and just sits nice under my eyes. And again, using the eye cream also helps that as well. And that's why I use like a light patting motion under my eyes with powder. And if you like your powder and like it to really set, you can build up with powder. That won't make it cakey, but using light layers is the key, and patting is the key, lightly, to prevent any movement and to prevent the cakiness as well. So I hope you found that video useful. I quite like doing these small mini tips and tricks, so please leave any, if you want me to do anything else, leave requests down below as always. I am going to maybe do a few of my own kind of looks that I've got in mind for next week, because I've done quite a few requested looks. Not that I don't like doing them, but I want to chuck in a few of my own ideas as well. But yeah, always keep the requests coming because I love doing them as well. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.